Apparently we encountered some black belly whistling ducks in the last video.
Oh, there they go.
Or Mexican whistling ducks. The footage was too blurry. There's not a consensus yet. Hopefully Tupelo wood doesn't glue up better than mahogany, because this was pretty difficult to get apart in the last video. I only gave that glue a couple hours to dry, so this should not be a big deal. Dang it. This might be a big deal. Oh man. Tupelo's got good glue up potential. We're getting it apart though. We did it. 2 symmetrical halves. Oh, dang it. That was dumb. I didn't cut any of the joints. I needed to put that line all the way around and cut the joint. I need to glue this back together. Where's my glue stick? I'm just gonna do one glob in the center. I think twisting it apart will be easier. Good thing I made this way thicker than it needs to be, because I've been clamping this a lot. I was just so excited to pull those pieces apart. Challenge prematurely accepted. Will it twist apart? Yes. That's a much better technique. We're not ripping any wood grain either. Nice and clean still. I was supposed to take it apart there, right? I'm going to have it where when you're casting, they'll all fall back like that and they'll stay right there. When it hits the water, they'll fall forward a bit and be diagonal like that, with still one where the others were on that level. Cool, man. I just need to definitely leave myself enough room. Joint connections. I need at least that and that. Pretty nifty. That's some substantial weight too. These are 3/8 inch steel. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they just all fall forward. That's cool. I drew some nice smooth lines on this. There's some stuff I need to sand out too, but that'll be the top profile. It's going to be unrealistically thick, but I got stuff in this bait that I want to rattle and move around, so we're gonna have to deal with the thickness. Before we cut this profile, we're gonna drill a giant eye socket out. We're gonna start with an 1/8 inch bit. So the bit is the size of the glass, but the copper tube is, oh man, is just a smidget smaller than the glass. Everything is going to be countersunk and accounted for. I had to cut some material away so I could get to where the eye socket's going to be. I'm going to cut the eye socket and then use the smaller bit. But I can have it flat against the table and drill straight through now still. Nice. Did a little bit of seam patching right there. The tail really needs it because I shoved a chisel into it. Other than that, it looks very, very clean. Man, I'm just looking in the viewfinder at my hands. I feel like I'm starting to get old man hands. Years ago, they weren't this gnarly, you know? You guys are gonna get to see the progression. I'll be able to know how old a video is by how my hands look. They're probably gonna get so bad. Don't think that I care how my hands look, please. So, I stumbled upon a realization. When you hold the bait flat and move it back and forward, the ball on top still rattles back and forward all the way. That's awesome. Because on starts and stops, like it'll stop and the ball will be forward, and then you start and you can get it to knock off of a start. And then hopefully there's a lot of head back and forward movement, strongly considering a big old lip, bringing it as close as I can up to the back of that eye. And I would just mortise a slot with the Dremel. I really don't know yet. I'm just gonna decide on a whim. It's the best way to do it. Getting that slot started. That's gonna be a lead hole. That's gonna be a line tie. This is just gonna be like a 1/2 inch lead hole. 16 millimeter actually. I've been using millimeter more because these bits are sharper. Nice hefty amount of lead right behind the lip. And then we got the weight right there too. It might be a crank down, who knows? Wake bait or crank down. Shallow is the goal though. That is gonna be a big honking lip. Just a big circle hanging off the bottom. Not even close yet, but this is gonna be awesome. That's the angle. Should be about right. Super glue, baking soda. We just need to cut these joints apart, get the calipers out, drill the holes for the joint connections, sand it until it can't take no more, and then seal the wood, ready to paint tomorrow. Oh wow, I was just tearing some wood grain. I'm going to sand this joint back a very small amount, that much. That line tie squeezed a bunch of super glue into that socket. It shouldn't interfere with anything, but there. This loud, ridiculous beast. Starting with white. I'm getting a lot more used to parts of lures having rattles inside of them. It's not confusing me when I pick them up. Gray on the top. Raw umber in the brush. It's a very poopy green. Bunch of silver, like 2 drops of light blue, some reducer, and some balancing clear. This is going on the bottom flank. I want a nice shimmy sheen when you tilt it. I put a little white line along that detail, whatever. Raw umber. It's a weird one. Hopefully it looks okay on the bait. Really went out on a limb here. It's definitely stirred enough already. Let's stir it for another minute. So I'm gonna do everything I can to not get clear coat where it does not belong. This lip slot and those eye sockets, that's it really. Okay, these scales are gonna be a lot. I'm gonna start with white, all of them. Then pearl white, and then maybe some colors, I haven't thought of them yet. And then back with mesh in my hand and detail smoke black and doing more fancy stuff to them. That's what I'm using for mesh. Okay, silver. And we're gonna angle the brush a little bit. Okay, now in some spots, not all spots. Detail smoke black. It's gonna start at the gills, be in the middle, go down the first piece and maybe halfway down the middle piece too. You can even stack the scale material up to get more of that. For some reason, there's a hole in the bottom of the tailpiece. Please excuse that. Man, that's got some texture and color and absolute beauty just in the tailpiece right there. Let's peel that masking fluid off. Masking fluid burger. Nice. I like the over-exaggerated scales. I hope it works good. Medium thick black super glue going in the eye hole. I've shaped this copper tube to exactly the way it needs to be. I think that's right where we want it. Feels pretty late in the game to be gluing a lip in, but that is what we're doing. We did not achieve any squeeze out right there, so we need more. Squeeze out. Fully bedded. We're gonna give that a while. We're gonna finish the glass. Actually gonna be a metal ball with glass sides, Rattle Eye, then clear coat. We'll be ready to fish tomorrow. That messiness around the outside you won't see once the clear coat's on. I just stirred this for longer than any man should ever have to stir anything. I stir the top coat extra good. It's seriously like a 4 or 5 minute stir. Aggressive. I don't care if I'm whipping bubbles into it, they always come out. That's got a nice rattle. It is quite a bit more pronounced than the glass ball, more snappy. I knew I was forgetting something. I know a lot of guys that would murder for this thing. I'm not just saying that for hype reasons either, because I don't sell baits. That is if it works good. I know it doesn't have any fins, doesn't even have a tail fin sticking off the back. A lot of serious swim bait fishermen, they see details and stuff like that and they're just like, that's cool. The main thing is that this thing thrashes around as though it has lots of issues on the top of the water. Lots of noise. We still gotta glue these ends in. I like gluing the point end of the joint connection first, one at a time. It's still a little messy, but not nearly as messy as if you glued these ends first and then it's just dripped down the slope. On this end, it just gets caught and kind of stays there and glues up even better. A little messy, but it's not going anywhere. It's a very symmetrical joint. It looks spot on.
The river. Starting off at the river, I can do that because it's topwater. This thing's like a cowbell. People can really hear me coming. I didn't even weigh this thing. I almost hit a bird first cast. Whoa. Unfortunately, dang it, there's not enough weight. It sits on its side. I should have made the lip metal. We have to add more weight. There's no getting around it. That is a bummer. I was wrong. When it runs correctly, it rattles really loud. That's pretty sweet when it works.
Oh no. There is some exposed weight chamber right there. 1 second. Okay. I didn't have a wide enough diameter hole punch, but that'll work. I'm gonna put some super glue and baking soda over that. Lead pot is plugged in, by the way. We are ready. Hot. Ow. Let's not bump things around while I have molten lead in my hand. Okay, that was 5-minute epoxy with nothing in it. The heat from that lead thins it out really, really good, and it penetrates the wood grain. Now I got some glass microspheres as a thickener, stirred into the same batch. Now hopefully we can drag this along, and it won't want to do that. It was just wanting to float so hard and it fell over on its side. I put over 20 drops of lead in it. That's probably close to an ounce. It's a lot heavier, but it really needed it. Hopefully this lip is still a quick action too.
Big cloudless blue skies. This isn't gonna be easy. We got a little bit of wind. Let's check out the action. Still floats. Much, much, much better. It leans a little on the top still, but it works. I can hear that rattle. It's nice and thumpy, even when you go slow. I like how I can leave my rod tip down too and it doesn't dive. That can get annoying with wake baits, having to leave your rod tip up. Look at that catfish right there. What if it just hit it super hard? Come on, man. This would be a pretty sweet making official. Come on, man. Make my video. Dang it. Thanks. So much poison ivy. I think I'm becoming immune. It hasn't been that bad this year. I know I've touched it. How have I not caught a muskie yet? Like 50 times. Oh, nothing's biting, go home. That's like my life, dude. Pretty much all we accomplished was to walk through a bunch of poison ivy. It's 5 in the morning again. If I get a big fish on this big bait with big hooks, I'm gonna have to be big time careful. Oh, pike.
I think. Well, we had a hit, fellas, right at the edge of the kayak. Man, dude, my poor glass rattle eyeball just got smashed. Because it got smashed, there's a bunch of water in it. It still rattles. It takes a little bit more to get it to rattle. You guys see how cracked that is? So yeah, it's pretty much destroyed. And we didn't catch a fish. We had that little blow up. It puts you in such distraught when you're out on water like that and you see blow ups and fish moving and a lot of stuff happening and all you have is this. Weight transfers worked the whole time really well. I like weight transfers in swim baits. It makes them cast way further and easier and more accurately. I think the rattle would have also worked better if it was right there instead of the eyeball. You don't get a lot of movement in the head of a bait with a lip on it right there. I learned a lot with this bait. It was worth making. We'll hang it up. There's another one of these coming out soon. This is exciting. I'll give you a sneak peek right now. We'll get them next time. Probably with this. On to the next bait. Starting to get old man hands.
Come on, man.
It's going to be unrealistically thick. Oh, dang it. Where's my glue stick? Joint connections. Super glue baking soda.